Hey Mixer, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com, and this is a video series that's going to show you all the basics of how to mix a song using a variety of Waves plugins. Now, in this video, I want to show you how to bring in some strategic reverb and delay into your mix so that you take your already well-recorded and mixed song and then put it in a sense of space so it sounds like it was recorded in maybe a real studio and not your bedroom. So my favorite thing to do to make this happen is to grab a simple room reverb, and a great one to use is the True Verb. And what I've pulled up here is a preset called Studio A. It's right here. And what I like about this is that it's a very natural sounding studio reverb. It doesn't sound like a fake space. It sounds like a real space. And to me, that's what's missing in, for example, my small studio. When I record drums, it sounds very small because it's in a small room. I would prefer to have drums that sounded like they were recorded in a drum room or a nice studio space. So what I do here is I pull in a auxiliary track or a bus, and I've called it room. And that's where I've put in the True Verb plugin. And then what I've done is dialed in the settings. And for now, I want to show you what it does to drums. I've sent the snare drum and another snare drum via a send a little bit to that reverb. This way you can get any track you want in that reverb without having to have that reverb on every single track. It saves you computer power and it's easier to do. And then I've also taken the drum group tracks where all the drums are funneling through and sent that to the reverb. So everything is touching the reverb and the drums, as well as the parallel drums bus as well. All this means is all the drums are going into this reverb by a little bit. Take a listen to the drums without it. Now take a listen to the drums through this reverb. Very subtle and very nice. You'll notice it when I take it away. Very full. It does two things for me. It widens the drums a bit because now if you listen to that snare hit, it doesn't sound tiny and up the middle. It sounds like it decays nicely in stereo. And then it makes the snare and the drum sound a little fuller because the sound of the reverb is kind of that design. So you want to pick the right reverb. I prefer starting with rooms or small plates or short plates. This one in particular, the Studio A preset, is a great starting point on True Verb, and you just need a little bit. What's beautiful about having your reverb plugin on its own track and then sending tracks to it is you can send just a little bit, and you can then be very meticulous about, do I want more of the snare to it, less of that sample snare, so how much of the drum bus do I want to? You can play with the sends and blend to taste how much wetness you want on those tracks. Something to keep in mind though is you'll want to keep the wet knob or the reverb all the way 100% on the plugin because you can control how much goes to it via the sends. Now, the drums aren't the only thing going through this reverb. In fact, I've got some of the electric guitars, I've got the piano, which is the main instrument, and I have the lead vocal. This gives those tracks a little bit more sense of space as well, because I want them all to sound like they were recorded in the same room, a real studio, as opposed to a bedroom. So let's bring these in.
Invincible, we are incredible. There's no way that.
Take away the reverb.
Invincible, we are incredible.
Dry as a bone, right?
Invincible, we are incredible. There's no way that we.
This is not supposed to be a noticeable effect. This is a thing that subtly widens the tracks and puts them in the same space as the drums. It's really, really nice. So if I bring everything back in the mix, even the things that don't have reverb, And what I'm going to do is simply bypass the room reverb track entirely. And it'll subtly change, but it's for the worse when you take it away.
Invincible, we are incredible. There's no way that we will fall. We gotta stay strong, stay strong. Invincible, we are.
Take a listen to it here in the verse.
Life is like a hurricane. There's always times when we lose our way, but we can't let no one put us down. Let no one bring us down. We value more than that. We gotta stay strong, strong.
It brings us another element of width and realism to the mix. Now, one final thing I want to show you is some vocal delay. I love delay on lead vocals, especially in a song that's cinematic like this, because what it does is it allows the vocals to sound more and more like they are in another world in a good way, creating the soundscape that you want, and less like they were recorded in a small room. You want the vocal to sound larger than life, to sound unapproachable in a way that it's like, wow, that vocalist is really killing it. And so a simple way to do that is to grab a delay. I'm a big fan of analog sounding delays, and H delay is becoming one of my favorites for that because you can get that real vibey, natural sounding delay very quickly. A lot of delays are perfect copies and they can sound a little too digital for my taste, so the H delay is perfect for someone like me. What I've done here is literally just dialed in a little bit different from the default. It's already synced to the tempo of my song with eighth notes, which was fine for me. I just rolled off some of the top end, rolled off some of the low end, and hit the lo-fi button. And then what I've got is a lead vocal using a delay, send. Again, just like with the reverb, I'm sending a little bit of it to this delay track. Take a listen to what this sounds like.
Life is like a hurricane.
Very, very cool. Very, very musical, right? Especially in context with a mix.
Life is like a hurricane. There's always times when we lose our way, but we can't let no one put us down.
It fills in some space. It makes the vocal sound polished. 2 tips for you on delays for lead vocals, though. I really love mono delays, and I think you will too. Instead of a ping-pongy delay that goes back and forth, nothing wrong with that, but having the delay go up the middle or even pan slightly to the right or slightly to the left, but the delay goes into one fixed spot, it does 2 things. One, it keeps the clarity of your mix where you're not having this delay swarming all around, kind of clogging up your mix, as it were. And 2, it allows the listener to pinpoint the sound of the delay because it's coming from one unique point in the stereo field, right up the middle in my case, or panned off to the side if you want to do that as well. I've done that as well. It allows the listener to notice the delay in a more pleasing way, I think. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is I prefer to roll off a lot of the top end. In this case, this has a built-in filter in the delay, which I love as well. I've rolled off everything above 1.5K. So it's really not a lot of clarity, not a lot of breathiness in the delay. It's a more muffled sounding delay. And then I also roll off some low end just in case there's any rumble in the vocal. The vocal shouldn't have any because I've already EQ'd it, and this is being sent from the already EQ'd vocal. But really rolling off a little bit of the top and the bottom end helps the delay sound even cleaner and won't get in the way of the rest of your mix. And what I'll do is just bypass both the reverb and the delay in the mix, and you can hear what's going away.
Life is like a hurricane. There's always times when we lose our way, but we can't let no one put us down. Let no one bring us down. We value more than that. We gotta stay strong, strong. Invincible,
And there you have it. It really adds a nice sense of depth, space, and just polish to your already good sounding mix. Now that does it for this video. In the final video, I'm going to show you something called pre-mastering, how to make your mix pop even more, get a little wider, and get to that commercial volume you need so it can compete with the other songs that you're comparing it to.